I thought the most important part of your set, and I'm not being funny, I thought the most important part.
We know.
You know, let me tell you something. This guy calls me 30 minutes ago, goes, I'm in a jam. Can you please come down here for the show?
I did not say I'm in a jam.
You said you're in a pickle. Or that was up your ass. I come down, you shit all over me. I mean, what the fuck?
Joe, we're 10 minutes into the podcast. You can't have a whole meltdown already.
Oh, this isn't the whole one.
What is going on, everybody? It is Treeb from Treeb Talks here, and we are back to recap another episode of Kill Tony. This time, Kill Tony number 687, with the panel of Joe Derosa and Chris Distefano. Now, Chris Distefano is one of these stand-ups that I have never seen, like, an actual one of his specials or any of his work, but I've seen him on a lot of podcasts, and he always cracks me up. He is a funny guy. He's very witty. He's quick with the replies, and he's a good Kill Tony guest. And Joe Derosa, who we found out during this episode was a last-minute addition to Kill Tony number 687, and he was a very solid addition at that. You know, he was pretty much the punching bag throughout the entire episode, but he took it in stride and was very funny when he was getting punched at, and you know, he delivered his blows as well, and got in some solid jokes as well. Chris was a very giving guy throughout this episode, gave 2 opening act spots to comedians on this episode, and was very complimentary to the fat guests on this episode, which shout out to my fat community. You know, you want to be told that you pull off the fat look, and that, you know, you ooze confidence as a fat person, and he gave those 2 fatties, you know, 2 people in my community, some confidence going forward. So shout out to Chris for doing that. But 2 very solid guests for this episode. As far as the bucket pulls and the regulars and the golden ticket winners who came on, it was a pretty alright show. I think we were very spoiled the last 2 episodes, with how well everybody did, from the bucket pulls to the regulars. When you have an episode that doesn't feature Ari Maddie or Cam Patterson, and you're going into the golden ticket winners, and you pull out 2 that aren't necessarily fan favorites, nor 2 of the better or even best or even average golden ticket winners to fill their spots on this show, you know, you're not going to get the greatest results. There were a handful of pretty solid bucket pulls, but for the most part, pretty lackluster average stuff. But the guests, Joe and Chris, did do a good job filling in those holes with some jokes and kind of getting the best possible outcome out of these bucket pulls and out of some of these regulars and golden ticket winners that did not perform necessarily up to snuff, at least in my opinion. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and rank the 12 sets that were on this episode of Kill Tony number 687. And starting off with number 12 is a familiar face, a bucket pull though, not a golden ticket winner or a regular. Coming in at number 12, I have Chen.
My friends used to call me gay. When I came out as trans, they begged me to go back to being gay. Apparently, if you suck a dick, it's pretty gay. But if you're sucking a dick while wearing a dress, that makes it super gay.
I'll tell you, you know, I was not blown away by the stand-up portion of Chen's set. You know, the transgender Native American that has come on the show now, I believe 2 or 3 times Chen has been on. Her opening joke was pretty good, saying my friends called me gay, and after, you know, she came out as trans, they begged her to go back. Apparently, sucking dick is pretty gay, but doing it with a dress on is super gay, which I thought was pretty funny. And I thought, you know, her laughing throughout her set kind of made it a little bit more funny, kind of loosened the room up a little bit. But, you know, it didn't kind of, I guess, make up for the other jokes that just weren't that funny. At the end of it, you know, when people ask her if she's trans, She says yes, but if you got to guess which way she transitioned, and if you get it wrong, she has to fist you. And all right, that was fine. And the interview, it didn't blow me away. It's stuff that she's kind of talked about before. She talked about DJing and playing other comedians on, and about how, she has to have ethnic tunes kind of on deck. So, if a Mexican comedian comes on, she has to have Lowrider on tap, so on and so forth. And went in more on her transition, talked about how her parents disowned her, which is, pretty sad. And I think the funniest part of this entire set was Chris being confused on if she transitioned from male to female or female to male.
Are you a guy? Wait, are you were born a male or a female? Because you're one of those I don't know which way it went. I'm trying to figure out, did you go male to female or female to male? I respect both your choices, but I just don't know.
It's male to female.
Male to female. Okay, cool, because you're kind of in between.
Yeah.
And, but I respect it. I know, hey, I like that shit. So, you know what I mean? I've never thought I'd meet the trans Mulan. And this is what Disney wants. This is what they get, and I support Disney. I have a special coming out on Hulu in February, so
That's
just
right.
know that.
100%.
That was very funny. But as far as the stand-up as a whole and, the bits throughout, Chen has had better moments on the show. And for me, I think it was the bottom-ranked set of the night. Coming in at number 11, I have another familiar face, a golden ticket winner. I have Jared Nathan.
Today, look up electronics. I found an explosive deals on pagers and cell phones. They only shipped to Lebanon.
To be fair, Jared Nathan was not on top of his game. He was sick during this episode. And, you could kind of tell that he wasn't at his best. I say you could kind of tell, but, with him and his stutter and stuff, it's hard to tell when somebody like that isn't feeling well. You kind of just assume when his stutter is as thick and girthy as Tony described it, that there might be a little bit wrong with him. Even when he was at Madison Square Garden, his stutter wasn't that bad. His set overall was all right. His one joke that he got off was how he went on Amazon and he saw that the cell phones and the pagers had an explosive sale, but only in Lebanon, which, good little political joke. Got that in, I think, just in a nick of time. So that was pretty good, pretty funny. And talked about how he was scared to go to customer service. But obviously the big storyline coming out of this, and it would get brought up again, was that he was sick and he had been throwing up the night
Honest
before.
with you, I don't know what's going on.
I've been kind of sick for a couple of days.
You've been sick?
I've been sick. Just
Jesus.
kind of shit.
I've never been happy to be in my seat. You're getting it all.
Jared, what the fuck would make you come here if you're sick? This is karma. This is why your tricycle got stolen, Jared. You're out here not caring about
The
others.
show always had to go on,
No, it doesn't always have to go on.
No.
It doesn't always have to go on. You're gonna get everybody sick, which is a good thing for the guy in the douchey Gucci hat, but a bad thing for everybody else around us.
What were your symptoms?
He wasn't retarded before this, so Derosa's about to hit a whole new low over here.
I just been puking and feel like shit, so I can.
Okay. Put the fucking
Come on,
mic in the
dude.
mic stand.
So hopefully, now obviously these are taped, I think weeks, prior. So hopefully now Jared Nathan is healthy and he could kind of get back on his bullshit. But to be honest with you, I've never been a big Jared Nathan fan. I know what Tony does, and Tony kind of collects the disabled and tries to give them a stage, which is cool. But Jared Nathan has been one that just has never clicked for me. And for that reason, I have him at number 11. Coming in at number 10 is another familiar face. So 3 familiar faces in a row round out my bottom 3. And at number 10, I have Enrique Chacon.
Hell yeah, man. I had to stop driving Uber Eats because I started abusing my own supply. Hence the weight gain. And if I'm your Uber Eats driver and I've been dropping off McDonald's at your shitty college campus and you're only tipping me 86 cents, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm gonna put my dick in your fish sandwich, dude.
I'll tell you, Enrique's voice just kind of annoys me, right? He talks to you like somebody who has to talk to you, like if you were at work, right, and somebody that is in a higher position than you is asking you how your day was, like a manager or probably more of like a manager in a different department comes up to you and is like, oh my God, Treeb, how are you doing? How was your weekend? How was your day? Like that's the vibe Enrique Chacon gives off. And, I've never vibed with it. I've personally never really fucked with Enrique Chacon. But Chris Distefano messed with Enrique Chacon in his stand-up. He gave him an opening act spot on one of his upcoming shows. His stand-up act featured him, mentioning how he had to stop doing Uber Eats, in his free time. He started eating them too much and talked about putting his dick in fish sandwiches. And the next time, if you eat a fish sandwich and Enrique is your delivery driver, you don't ever have to worry about what the secret sauce is because it's not tartar sauce. It's Enrique Chacon nut is what it is. So you don't ever got to worry about that. And did a whole bit about his girl, sucking on his titties and him moaning. Pretty disgusting. He did a little bah noise, did a little goat noise. He had a sweat rag and was consistently wiping his face, and that kind of turned into the whole interview and kind of made it. That was kind of the entire focus, was how sweaty Enrique is.
Morbidly.
At this point, this is a fucking prop, dude.
Because it's wet too. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it a prop? Explain what you mean.
Oh, like, dude, every time I do a punchline, before the punchline, I wipe, dude, you know what I'm saying? And then I drop the punchline, bro.
Is that whole thing just soaked? Is the back as wet as the front?
It's not as wet as my back, but you know what I'm saying? It's
There you
it's
go.
almost there, Tony.
There you go.
He also talked about having a non-binary face, and Tony came out with a really good clap back, like a really specific binary joke, and that was very, very good.
You know what? I can't speak to that, bro, because, I have a non-binary face, dude. I can't fucking speak to that shit.
You really do.
I wish I could.
Stella Alonso.
Looks pretty binary to me. I bet there's been a lot of ones and zeros that sat on that face. Ooh, a smart binary joke. I mean, no big deal. Who's keeping track of?
And then Enrique said, hey, man, I eat ass. And it's like that had nothing to do with what was said. Didn't get that. And, yeah, man, I've just never been the biggest Enrique Chacon fan. Maybe you guys are. But for me, didn't hit the notes, didn't do what he needed to do for me to be in one of the upper echelon spots. So I have him at number 10. Coming in at number 9, I have Soul.
Shit, is he okay on this mic? I appreciate it. Any adoptees in the house? Joe, I know. Okay. Yeah, that's what happens when you failed the SAT. I got a 2400. I was 3 years old. I thought that shit was pretty good. Not good enough for Asian parents. Fuck that, man. Ship your ass to America. The only people that can afford you, white people. Thank you, Bob and Donna. Any white people that grab Bob and Donna? Thank you, man. Thank you. Shit, we'll eat anything, man. So when you think about the bedroom ladies get with the nation, I don't care what you think about our fucking small dick stereotype. My people eat dogs. I'll tear a little kitty up. So,
He came out pretty good, I think, for being a guy that just got pulled out of the bucket. He came out right after Jared Nathan and him talking about how he was sick. And, they rushed him off the stage, said, get out of here. And he said, well, if Jared's not going to give you guys COVID, I will. And, he's Asian, so yeah, that fit the vibe. That was pretty funny. And then, mentioned how he got a 2,400 on his SAT and thought that would, kind of make his Asian parents proud at 3 years old. But it did not. And he ended up getting shipped out to America and got adopted by some white parents. And, he told some other jokes, but to be honest with you, his stand-up set, his interview, all for the most part, very, very boring. This is one of those sets that you could just skip and you would not miss a whole thing from this episode. Nothing that great came from Soul, and honestly, I think we'd be better if we just kind of skipped over him for the rest, because not a whole lot more needs to be said about him. And honestly, you could really say that for number 9 and number 8, which coming in at number 8, we have Luke Wright.
I identify as a BBC. Badly balding Caucasian. Yeah, I had a pretty rough childhood. My dad beat me with conservative values. Yeah, he's a big conspiracy theory guy, too, He thinks 9/11 was an inside job. I think that's pretty ridiculous. I think it pretty clearly happened outside.
Luke Wright was the penultimate set of the night. He was not that funny. He looked like a guy that gives you guided hikes. Looked like a guy that worked at the zoo. He came out with his first joke saying that he was a BBC, a badly balding Caucasian. Talked about his dad and his dad passing on trying to give him hard conservative values, and that he was also a conspiracy theorist. And one of his conspiracy theories was he thought 9/11 was an inside job, even though it clearly happened outside. I thought that was pretty funny. He gave his interview basically, talking about how he's such a good person and how he was helping out migrants, and that's his job. And it was pretty boring, just kind of talked about how good of a guy he is, until he finally touched on a story where he almost got stabbed. But even during that story, wasn't the most interesting thing in the world. They kind of had to pry to get him to say any, really relative information.
Came from a very messed up country.
Is it she?
Yeah,
Wow.
she came over, entire family, or not, well,
That's what happens when you try to text other girls. Don't fucking do that, dude. Trust me, I know. Don't fuck
man,
around.
you know the struggle. I mean,
I know it, dude.
It's scary.
So she.
About that story. So again, kind of one that you could skip, and if you skip this one, you get right into the big red machine. So never a bad thing there. For me, I got Luke Wright at number 8. Coming in at number 7, I have Drew Santana.
I think it's really ironic how black people call their cars whips. You okay? You okay? I'd never like pull up with the homies in my taxes. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Drew Santana is a little different. You maybe can fast forward through his stand-up set, at least his first joke, which is a joke where he talks about a transgender tripping over their own dick, and it wasn't that funny. He he literally, I think, just said that he saw a transgender walking down the street and they were tripping over their own dick. Like that was the whole joke. But then he comes out with a joke and says he never understood why black people call their cars whips. And that was pretty good. That was a solid joke. And, thanks to Kill Tony Reddit, they got to find out that he had been on the show before and, had some weird bad sets in the past. But now this one, I think, out of the times that I've saw on Reddit and, got to see some other Drew Santana film, this was his best showing, and he even got the Heidi treatment. He talked about how he did not, he does not do well talking to females, and they brought out Heidi to have a one-on-one conversation with him, and it was super awkward, and he put his awkwardness on full display.
But I do need your number.
Whoa.
There it is. Good for you.
Rapey.
There it is.
Holy shit.
Come on, dude.
Straight to the number. Okay, let's try another round. Here we go. Round 2 of What
Yeah.
the Fuck is Going On. Heidi says a nice line, and you react in any way. Heidi?
How's your day going?
Come on, dude. Think your favorite. Think a line from your favorite movie. Go. How about this? It likes it when you put the lotion in the basket.
It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets.
Let's get back to it. She asked you the
It puts
unbelievably...
the number in my phone.
No. Okay, Drew, relax.
You can mime me your phone. Yeah,
Okay, everybody relax. Everybody relax. Okay.
So, you know, it was good for him because those are moments to, put in the show to give you more opportunities. You know, when people on Kill Tony get presented with, like, you know, the opportunity to play the drums, play the guitar, you know, have an awkward interaction with Heidi, these are, like, really good opportunities. And Drew Santana had the opportunity to do that with Heidi. And while he was super awkward, didn't say a lot, I think that was, you know, that's kind of his gimmick. That's who he is. I think that he did a good job with that. I was laughing during that time of the show. So I thought, you know, he had one good joke. He had one good segment. Very promising rebound from his last couple of appearances. Solid stuff, in my opinion, from Drew Santana. So now we're going to get into the top 6 of this show. And coming in, I had to get caught up there a little bit. Coming in at number 6, we have Emily Wade.
My name's Emily Wade. I'm 26. My dad's 66. And recently he married a Ugandan mail-order bride who's younger than me, which has been great for my mental health. Let me tell you that.
Emily Wade was a person who came on and got little to no reaction because she talked about, you know, basically incest. You know, that's basically what she talked about. She started off saying that her dad married a Uganda mail-ordered bride and, you know, struggled to get through that opening line, but, you know, with all the silence and whatnot. But she sat in the silence, kept telling her joke, and did a good job finishing things out. She touched on the age difference, you know, with the Ugandan wife being younger than her and the wife getting everything that, you know, she never got from her father, and that, you know, if all it took was sucking her father's dick to go to college and all this, then she would have done that years ago. And it turns out that she's done that joke in front of her father, and he said, "Hey, do you still want to go to college?" You know, and that is fucked up. You know, it's not that great, but it's also pretty funny. You know, I thought that they should have, like, the crowd should have laughed a little bit more. But alas, you know, the panel, Chris, Joe, and Tony gave her some pretty good advice that, you know, it seemed like she had heard before, but she did not take it. Which hopefully this time around she takes the advice, because I feel like I see the potential in Emily Wade, and I think she could be a very, very solid stand-up comedian.
You know, me and your dad would love to hang out with you after this.
I'm trying to get into UT Austin, so let's fucking go.
Do it.
No, but I was going to say, you have these great premises with this real story. Don't go for the shock value, not true punchlines. Like, explore the truth of it, and there's a lot of really funny shit in there.
You know what's crazy? Everybody says that, but I'm a 12-year-old boy at heart, and I think about sex all the time. So, like, is that not my truth?
With your dad, that might be a problem.
What?
Whoa.
I don't know. I can't.
Whoa.
We can't get too deep on it.
Jeez.
Jesus.
I got hard and soft at the same time there. I'm a 12-year-old boy, and then what a crash after that. You know what I mean? Yeah, people tell you that. Comedians tell you that, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Comedians that are a lot more experienced than you and wildly successful, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would listen to them.
Coming in at number 5, I have Georgia Critchett.
From Montenegro.
And Montenegro in Spanish and Italian means a black mountain, right? Which makes me a black mountain man. Or, as we like to call us, I am a Montenegger. Oh, shut up. I can say it. Oh, shut up. Well, if you don't like that hard R at the end, you can just call me a Montenegro. It's fine. We like it.
Yeah, he straight up said the N-word by just putting a different word in front of it. That's pretty much exactly what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do his first time ever doing stand-up. And, you know, it gave us a good shock value. I remember when I heard it the first time, I had to go back to make sure that that's what he said, and it was what he said. And, you know, you got to give him credit for that. You know, there's still some people out there being ballsy and whatnot. And, you know, he was being ballsy. And it was the first time that he'd ever tried to do stand-up comedy. And, you know, it had layers to it. It had, you know, it was written, you can tell, and it had a premise, had a punchline. Like, you know, it was a fine first time doing stand-up, and you got to give him that. He also touched on in the interview that he was homeless and he's living on 6th Street and that he, you know, basically lives out of his car out of the Walmart parking lot.
live actually almost on the 6th Street. I live in my car.
It is 6th Street Jesus, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm homeless for the last 3-4 months.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Look at
I'm
you.
doing good.
You're a happy homeless guy. I
Thank
like
you,
it.
sir.
I like it. So
appreciate
tell us what it's like living on the streets.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Tell us more.
Well,
Describe
here
it.
actually on the 6th Street, it's the worst.
Uh-huh.
But I live actually on the Walmart parkings. That's where I sleep, where I park my car, because I live in my car, right?
Yeah.
And it's I don't know what to say, Tony. It's not nice. It's not good.
And he went through his routine of being homeless, and that was a good little bit. He also got a chance to play the guitar, and he wasn't that bad at playing the guitar. Obviously, after last episode, you know, nobody's going to live up to that hype on how good that guy was on the guitar. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, which is super, super bad. But, yeah, he's not going to live up to that hype. But it was a good interview, a very shocking moment. But, you know, nonetheless, I think that gives him a spot in the top 5. It was his first time ever doing it. He's homeless. You know, maybe now he won't be homeless. We will see. But, yeah, very shocking, very bold. Got to give him that for the 5th spot. Coming in at number 4, I have Bruno Oliveria. Yeah, Bruno. We're going to say Bruno here, guys.
Just want to put that out there. Everyone calls me Hector from Fast and Furious and shit. And I can't unsee it now, you know what I mean? Well, the other day I got called fucking Pitbull from Down Under. I'm like, what the fuck, man? That's a fucked up thing to say, man. It's been a... Thank you. Appreciate that, man. It's my first time here in Texas and shit, you know, like, which is cool. It's not too bad. I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to hold my breath because I ran here and I'm not that fit. But, yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird, you know, but I hate when people say shit like fucking, oh, hey, man, like, I had some dude come up to me and say, hey, man, you have very prison eyes. And I'm like, do I know you, bro? Like, what the fuck? And it's like, I get it. I look like I did it, but I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Number 4 is Bruno. He's an Australian that looks Mexican. That's basically was his whole entire bit. And the funniest part was he kept ticking Mexican boxes. Like, it's like, oh, you do this just like a Mexican. Just like a Mexican. It was so funny. And he got pretty sassy with the panel a lot of times. Like, he got pretty angry. Like, you could tell that he was getting a little bit pissy. But, you know, when they kept cracking jokes, he kind of dialed it back and brought it in eventually and didn't get so pissy by the end of it. Really, the funniest bit really was that his head and his nose were caved in and all fucked up, and they were trying to get that information out of him, but he was like, I don't want to share it. I don't want to talk about it. But, you know, they finally got it out of him. Tony even tried to draw a face on the back of his head, but his Sharpie wouldn't work because of how sweaty he was. And, you know, they finally got him to talk about what happened to his nose. And after they talked about what happened to his nose, or before they got to get into the detail of what happened to his nose, he kept saying that his drink got spiked.
This Sharpie literally doesn't work anymore. It absorbed all of the fucking just ate it alive.
Hey, the whole time I'm gonna just explain. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna rub it off. But so I got
Your head has a wet back. Ticks another one. That's another box on the Mexican.
Hey, yo, and it's actually wet as well when I did it. You know what I mean? It's fucked up. But so I got my drink spiked, and I went to the.
Sparked. Next on Spark, UFC Unleash on Spark. Fucking watch the Spark TV, dude.
Fucking crocky. So so my drink got spiked, and I went to the restroom. You exaggerated. I'm just gonna keep exaggerating.
Yeah.
So let me say just.
You're doing good.
I just thank you, appreciate you. But so my drink got spiked, and I went to the.
And he said it so Australian, and he just kept saying it. And that was probably the hardest that I laughed in the entire episode, was him just continuously saying my drink got spiked, which was just super dumb, super funny. And, if this is a telling sign of anything, that him and Georgia are in the top 5 of this episode, that kind of tells you the talent that was in this episode. It wasn't that high. But, Bruno did have a good little interview, and it was funny. And it was funny to watch him kind of get a little pissy when people, when the panel was still telling him, like, oh, that's a Mexican thing. You still look Mexican. And, like, Tony asking him where he's from. He's like, are you serious? You can't tell that I'm from Australia? And it's like, not when you look so Mexican, dude. I don't know what to tell you. But we got Bruno at number 4. And coming in at number 3, I have Chris
Can I ask
Reeves.
you another question? Do you think it's better to molest a normal kid or a retarded kid? You don't have an answer? Pussy. I'll tell you, because there is a right answer. It's retarded kid for sure. You agree? It's retarded kid for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they're too goofy to testify. Where'd he touch you? I like fire trucks.
Who is another, there's a lot of diabolical sense in this episode. And, he talked about what would be a better child to molest, retarded or normal. And, he asked the crowd, which is a good crowd work bit because nobody is going to answer that question. And he called the crowd cowards for not answering. And obviously he gave the number 1 true answer to that. And the reason for that being the true answer, number 1, too goofy to testify. And number 2, a lot more drool. And, that was super, super funny. And, he was a super a guy that has been through a lot, obviously. He's been on the show before. Tony asked him if he had been, molested before. And it turns out that that's something that they had talked about in a previous episode. And it turned into a really funny conversation.
Were you ever molested?
Oh, we've talked about this a couple times. Hell yeah.
Really?
Goddamn right. Molested and proud. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm one of those retarded kids I was talking about.
Yeah, it seems like it. Unbelievable. I don't remember our molestation talks. I thought it was a risk asking that question.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it. It just got really sad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why did it get sad?
I don't know.
Did
I
you
think
get sad?
No.
No, you like it.
Yeah, I was having fun since I got molested.
Right. Exactly. You enjoyed
I was
the
jerking them off. I'm like, yes.
All right, Chris. All right, Chris. Settle down.
Tony, where does comedy go from here? What's happening? I'm fucking my dad, molesting retarded kid. What's happening?
Yeah.
We also find out that he's roommates with Adam Lucky, who is another, funny, fucked up comedian who was on not that long ago. So these two, have very similar styles and, are kind of interchangeable with how they do things. Honestly, that might have been better than Adam Lucky's set not that long ago. Very, very funny, very good, awesome stuff from Chris Reeves, who I have at number 3. Coming in at number 2, I have the Big Red Machine, William Montgomery.
Quick pro tip, if you ever get to meet Bone Thugs in Harmony, don't ask, which one of you is Harmony?
Returns to the top of the pedestal where he belongs. And, lots of silly jokes in this one. If you meet Bone Thugs in Harmony, don't ask who Harmony is. I thought that was funny. He talked about how he used to seal the deal with girls back in college by cleaning the bathroom, and he would unseal it by taking a shit. I thought the fantasy ultimate frisbee joke was good. He touched a little bit more on the not yelling part and, grabbed his throat a little bit as he would still, yell one part. I'm starting to think that that's becoming more of a work and not real, which is, funny for the show. And, it's given, Tony a little bit more of the wrestling persona that this show gives off. And, kind of giving us another storyline to follow along with. And I always think that's good. That's funny. And that's fun to watch. And he continued on the bit about Jared Nathan being sick, and that was funny. Not sure if that was a work either, but if that was real, then it sounded like Jared Nathan was way too sick to be on this episode.
Jared Nathan got wheeled out of the front of this fucking building. He literally came up into the green room vomiting, sick as shit. He had a fever, and they literally wheeled him out like 10 minutes ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, shut up.
No, seriously. He seemed really sick. Y'all disinfected this, right? I swear to God, he literally fell out. He vomited a bunch in the freaking green room. And I'd been joking the whole time that Jared Nathan seemed super sick. And you know me, Tony, I'm kind of a germaphobe person. And then he starts vomiting and he hits his head a little bit on the ground. It really wasn't that, seriously, it wasn't that bad, but they had to get him out in a stretcher out front.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So I'm just happy to be here right now. It literally, no, seriously. I mean, I was excited about being here tonight and everything. And then I'm joking with his ass. I'm like, don't touch me. You seem so sick. He literally kept on trying to touch me. He was joking around and he stutters a bunch. So it can be hard to kind of understand what he's even saying to my fucking ass. I just try to be nice, but he ended up vomiting and hitting the
all
ground,
of that
so.
at once. He started vomiting and hit his head.
He vomited a bunch, and he made this weird noise, and we all kind of look at him, and it got on Janice a little bit. Red Band's Janice. Yeah, it got on her a little bit.
Red Band's girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, Janice.
Yeah. Did he stutter when he vomited? Was it like a mist?
Was like,
no, he seemed...
I don't feel so... I don't feel so...
Yeah. It was kind of like that, but no, it seemed like he was more scared.
Right. Well, way to put a little ribbon of sadness on it there at the end. Absolutely incredible. Amazing.
But William did a great job continuing the storyline about his throat, delivering the Jared Nathan news, and a lot of just dumb, silly jokes in this episode. So for that reason, I have him at number 2. Coming in at number 1, I have Peyton Reddy.
All right, fellas. I was doing Tinder for a while, and, a lot of comics, they talk about Tinder because it's like infamously the worst dating app, But the craziest thing to me about Tinder is when I was doing that, when I created my profile, Tinder makes you pick like a whole bunch of hobbies and interests that show up on your profile. You cannot finish creating your profile without picking hobbies and interests. So Tinder gives you a big list of hobbies to pick from. I thought this was weird. Did you know you could pick Black Lives Matter as a hobby? That's a hobby? I support Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's not a hobby to me. That's just something that is. It's like food or something. I'm like, all right, yes. Black people, acknowledged, exist. If you don't know what a hobby is like something you can do after work, like you can squeeze in with the free time, like playing the drums or something. You want to do that with the lives of black people? That's your hobby? That's kind of fucked up. How do you explain that to somebody? Somebody's like, do you support Black Lives Matter? And you're like, I'll be honest, I have been swamped at work recently, so...
Incredibly solid set, and he's been doing it for 6 years, and he's only 23. Told a set about hobbies and interests on Tinder, and one of the hobbies being BLM. And that, he built on that very, very well. And, I think I showed the entire set pretty much. So you heard what he said, and he did a great job staying on one topic throughout the entire set, which is something that Tony touched on as well, and something that you don't really see come from these bucket pulls, even if they have, years and years of experience. But Peyton did a great job with that. Lots of jokes in that 1 minute set. He also did a great job with rolling with the punches when, the panel roasted him a little bit.
What kind of, how you getting around? You got a car?
I roll.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I was getting at. This guy's good. Taking the momentum, rolling with it. This is very good. Very, very good.
Did a great job with that. And he also got an invite to Chris's show along with the secret show. So he made out very, very well with this appearance on Kill Tony. And, I think is somebody that, could be on our screens a lot more, whether it be on Kill Tony or just anywhere. He's a very, very solid stand-up comedian, and I'm curious to see what is next for Mr. Peyton Reddy, who seems to be a really, really solid stand-up comedian. Alrighty, guys, that was another episode of ranking all the sets from the most recent Kill Tony number 687. What'd you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Don't forget, you can hit that subscribe button, click the bell icon so you get notified every single time I drop a new video. You can click over there and check out all my other Kill Tony videos where I rank the sets on all the previous episodes of Kill Tony. I also have Kill Tony shorts where, I break stuff down in a shorter form. If you like shorter forms, you get a short attention span, check that out. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.